Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we're going to be going over a bunch of information that came out of interviews from GameWatch, Famitsu, Dengeki, and 4Gamer regarding patch 4.1 and on for Final Fantasy XIV. Some of you may remember this morning, you may have seen me post a video where I said that Arthurs had done an interview. That was just a misunderstanding on my part. I saw that he had tweeted recent interview with Yoshida and then a bunch of different tidbits. What he had actually been doing was translating these that we're going to be going over before this post was actually on Reddit. So my mistake for that earlier. All the same, I will still include Arthur's information since he did post it on Twitter, and he is someone who streams regularly from the community and someone I would still like to have on State of the Realm at some point. Now, with that out of the way though, the actual sources were GameWatch, Famitsu, Dengeki, and 4Gamer, and this was posted on Reddit by 11 Mile. I'm pretty sure that they've done translations on Reddit before for things like this because the name's very familiar to me. So I'll include a source to this. Be sure to go over there, give them, you know, whatever it is, Reddit Karma or whatever it is valuable on Reddit. But give them some traffic and thank them for it personally over on Reddit for all of these translations. Now, with that being said, let's go over some of the information that I'm already familiar with everything this is going to say because of my video earlier, but I'm still excited because I was excited about it this morning and I couldn't be as loud and excited then. So we're going to get one more update for 4.1, which is just going to be some PvP adjustments. Now 4.06a is going to be taking place tonight, and that seems to be some infrastructure updates to the servers. So that's likely going to be for some other things. We know housing in Shirogane is coming in 4.1. We know they're still working to make it so that we can actually get inventory increases. So it's probably more for that than it is for anything else, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it also have those small-scale PvP adjustments. We know Shinryu Extreme is coming. That's not really new information. We've known that for a while now. More ways to utilize your clan mark logs and Grand Company currencies. One of those things would clearly be the ability to use hunting logs in order to upgrade your tombstone gear from 330 to 340 as an alternative for Savage. That's definitely going to be one of them for hunting logs. That's just something that they always do and have done since hunting was introduced way back when. More plans. There might be plans to upgrade the weathered job equipment. It's weathered, so most of us expected to be able to upgrade it and have it be more glamorous in a sense. Those are the items you received from your job quest, the level 70 job quest, and just to be specific. Let's see, they're starting to focus in doing something to the core system of Glamours. Now, this is not the first we've heard of this. They want to retool the Glamour system. Now, while it's nice that Glamours have a market of their own and, you know, it's just this whole huge thing, it's also just an incredibly tedious system that really has a lot of limitations. You know, if you have the same piece in multiple gear sets, you have the same glamour in multiple gear sets. You know, you have to keep all this equipment, you know, at least in your inventory, or you have to keep it nearby, or you can't let go of items, and it just fills your inventory with glamour after glamour after glamour. So I'm hoping to see some meaningful changes to that, whether it be a transmog system or something like what Guild Wars 2 has. I hope that we get it, because glamours will still be valuable, you just won't have to hold on to them forever. They want to expand on the inventory slots, and they're still talking about the smartphone app features linked to the game, something I've been getting asked about again more recently. For those who didn't know, they were developing a smartphone where you could talk to free companies and link shells on the go. They wanted to make it so you can manage your inventory, retainers, and market board from that app as well as any other features that they may have had in mind. So they're just bringing that up again, and hopefully we get more information about it soon. 4.1 will allow for cross-server friends lists and being able to /tell people across servers. As we move forward, expect a lot more cross-server functionality, including link shells and free companies, to become an option in the very, very near future. This is a good start, but obviously it can only be across the same data center. All the same, it's something we've wanted for a really, really long time, and it's good that we're finally going to be getting it in 4.1. 4.2 will see a group chat feature. Now that's interesting because link shells are pretty much the equivalent of a group chat. They may have foregone the idea of actually making link shells that are cross-server, and as an alternative, you just have this group chat, which essentially does the exact same thing. And that is how you do those cross-server link shells and communities that we want to see building in our game. On the subject of making items stack up to 999, they couldn't make it for patch 4.1. There are some items that they do want to get up to 999. Initially, Arthur said they will have them stackable up to 999. That being said, it couldn't make it for 4.1. Aetheryte tickets would be one, ventures. There's a bunch of items that I feel like could definitely benefit from stacking up to almost 1,000. Return to Ivalice will see a whopping load of spoilers, and introducing those will be the main focus of the next producer live letter. So, expect a lot of Return to Ivalice information coming out of the live letter that's going to be this Friday. Though 4.1 content introduced in the producer live letter may be briefed, they will introduce them all. When they say brief, they mean brief, meaning that usually in part 1 reveals of a patch, they just show us what all the content's going to be and focus on 1 or 2 aspects, which Return to Ivalice will be that aspect that they focus on. Makes sense considering Yasumi Matsuno is the special guest for that live letter in particular. So we'll know everything that'll be in 4.1 at least on Friday, but they won't go into detail on all of it. They are going to do a 4.1 introduction part 2. I mean, that's normal. They always do that. They always do a part 1 and a part 2. That's why it's called part 1 in the first place. So we will have another live letter before 4.1 actually hits. They're introduced the new Super Savage that everyone's been waiting for, or Beyond Savage, whatever you want to call it. And just as a reiteration, it's separate from Omega Savage. It's going to be its own series of encounters that we'll be getting in 4.1, 4.3, and 4.5. I think there's other comments here about the difficulty of it in particular. The NGC Crafting Committee, I'm assuming that means that's the people who work on the crafting quest and development team, might create a whole load of original quests for the upcoming 14-hour broadcast. I'm curious what that means. It says for the upcoming 14-hour broadcast, not revealed in the 14-hour broadcast. I'm still waiting on more of the delivery quests that we had at the end of 3.0 or 3.x, I should say. And obviously, we're still waiting on the crafting Beast Tribe quests. That's how I'm leveling my stuff, dude. That's how I'm getting any of the materials that I want. So hopefully that's what it actually means, and it's just more of a rough translation. There may be loads of upcoming surprises for the costume Tanaka Rie, the voice actor for Sophia and Kani-Sena, and Sadu wears, and also from Yoshio Najo's Radio Corner. So just some stuff regarding some of the special guests from the 14-hour broadcast. Conversation with Hino will be more about comparison between the present online games with the past. So yeah, they're just talking about the different guests that are going to be on the 14-hour broadcast. On their opinion about Omega Delta Scavenge difficulty, it's roughly as expected. They expected a lot of people to clear through floors 1 and 2 and then start to struggle on 3 and 4, and they feel like that's how it's kind of played out. Pseudo Kenji, the designer for the upcoming Beyond Savage mode, mumbles a lot of unsettling words during the planning stage, and it seems that the scale is going to be rather epic. Have to elaborate on this one. It's more the scale of dreadful, terrifying, and breathless, not like a large-scale encounter. But again, since we don't know how it's like yet, epic is a more suitable word until the patch is released and live. I'm still banking on Twintania. Twintania Super, or Beyond Savage, whatever you want to call it. This content mode is going to be the hardest of all since he joined the team, and it's going to be roughly the same as the second coil of Bahamut Savage. That rings with some of the things that Arthur's was translating earlier. That's good for me, because it means that no matter, you'll probably want the best gear available at the time. Honestly, you'll probably want Vitality Melds, if that's anything to go by. And it means that it is ultimately going to be an encounter of a very specific type of difficulty. When I think back to Second Coil Savage, when I completed them at the item level that was relevant, I had a specific ranking where 6 was the easiest, 9 was above that, and then I found 7 as a melee DPS to be very easy, but I know healers hated it, and then 8 definitely felt like the place where most people had individual responsibility. Going back to Second Coil Savage, that is. So I'm curious how this pans out, because if it is a Beyond Savage version of an existing encounter, like we've been led to believe up to this point, then I wonder if it's going to be fixing any of the problems the fight had, especially if it ends up being something like Twintania. I'm really curious to see how that ends up working out, but they will reveal it on this Friday. So we're going to have more information in the upcoming live letter. And there's not really a story for Beyond Savage. It's just a series of encounters. So you don't have to worry about missing out on story if you're not a hardcore raider. Banri Oda wrote the story for Alamigo up to Kugane, while Natsuki Ishikawa did mainly on the eastern side of the story. Just clarifying who wrote what. The possibility of adding more Aetherites in the future? No. Feels bad, man. Though there are plenty of places like Amino Miyashira contains loads of meanings, but is otherwise unused. Maybe it will be used in the future? Question mark. Magnai, whether he will appear in the future is uncertain, though they have ideas in consideration. It's not confirmed. People really want to see him find his moon, huh? Swimming-related content, if any, will revolve more on 4.0 areas instead of old areas. Just a little bit of confirmation on that. On jump potions, it is not as used that much as people would have thought. That could lean towards them opening up the restrictions on it a little bit, but their sales on jump potions must just be overall lower than what they anticipated it was going to be, which is interesting to me because we all thought like everyone was going to hop up on that. But for it to be even lower than they expected, it's kind of surprising. There's no collaboration announcements for Yokai Watch. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe Ni no Kuni, though. It's the same studio, and that Ni no Kuni 2 is coming out soon. And then this last one was interesting when I talked about it earlier. There's a possibility that the 4.x series will contain patches 4.6, 4.7, and so on. So what's interesting about that is if they go past 4.5, it immediately means they need another raid tier for 4.6. Either that or they have to be doing stuff that's so like completely original and different from everything they've done so far that it warrants having an entire numbered patch after it. I'm totally okay with more Omega like going throughout all this. Maybe they can't finish the story in 3 parts or something like that. I don't know. And also maybe it means a Return to Evil story. I mean, if they go all the way to 4.7, that would theoretically mean more Omega Savage, or more Omega in general, and more of the 24-man raid. So maybe that's sort of a consideration. Maybe it's just they want even less of a break between patch and expansion. I don't know what the planning is behind that. But the fact that they only say there's a possibility, it's kind of concerning because they say they're very well planned into the future. So I'm curious why they're saying now there's a possibility of that. But there's always been the possibility of that in the past, and it's never really panned out. And that's all the information, or at least all the most major points that are pointed out here. All the original sources are at the bottom of the post. Thank you again, 11 Mile, for the post, and sorry for the mix-up and the deletion of the earlier video. On that note, though, let me know what your thoughts were on the different details inside of all of these different translations. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned. We got a live letter coming this Friday, so hopefully you're on the lookout for some exciting new stuff regarding 4.1. I will see all you fine ladies and gentlemen in the next video, and until then, take care.